Graph the transformation of f of x equals 2 to the x power. Give the horizontal asymptote, the domain, and the range. So to get this, the graph itself is probably a good place to start. First thing is to notice that whenever we have a exponential function of the form f of x equals some base, which in this case it's 2, but that's fine, raised to the x minus h plus k, that h is a horizontal shift and k is a vertical shift. Now, the vertical shift is actually easiest to start with because it just tells you where the asymptote is going to go. Now, for a exponential function, you're going to have a horizontal asymptote, and normally that's right along the x-axis. And that's even the case here because there's actually no vertical shift. So if there were a vertical shift, I would move the horizontal asymptote up or down accordingly. There is a horizontal shift, however. So normally the graph would pass through a particular point, which is 1 unit above the asymptote and on the y-axis. Since I have a horizontal shift of +1, I need to go to the left 1 direction. So this point moves left 1 unit. So I'm going to erase it from there. Now the graph itself, in order to graph something with base 2, what you need to do then is, if you go over right to the 1 and up 1 and find another point, then that will give you another point that you need to pass through so that you have a base 2 exponential. If it were base 3, you'd go over 1 and up 2. And there's different values that you go up and down per different bases. But all the functions you're going to work in this class will have base 2. So once you find this point, just go right 1 and up 1 to find another. Now to answer these parts down here, the horizontal asymptote. The horizontal asymptote is still at y equals 0, so we'll leave that alone. The domain of all exponential functions is -infinity to +infinity. And that's just a fact that you can rely on, memorize, and just use for these kinds of questions. Then the range starts from wherever your horizontal asymptote is. In this case, that's at 0, but it doesn't include the asymptote. So we start with 0 non-inclusive, so the parentheses, and then go to +infinity. So you can see that set. It's all the values starting here but not including, and then going up this way. That's the range that I'm talking about. Now to graph this online, what you do is make sure your exponential drawing tool is set, and then when you move your mouse over the graph, you'll see a pencil show up with a sort of shadowed outline, which is going to be the location of your asymptote. So just click where your asymptote should be. Since it's supposed to be at the x-axis, just click there. And it doesn't matter where this red dot here ends up, just anywhere is fine, as long as the asymptote's in the right spot. Now, Now normally, the graph would pass through this point right here. But here's where we need to take into account the horizontal shift. So we move this point over to the left 1 unit. Then click again, and then it's going to give you a second point. And as you move this second point, you'll start seeing this curve of the exponential show up. So to get the correct curve for base 2, remember what I said, just go to the right 1 and up 1. There we go. There's our graph. So when you hit submit, you'll get the correct answer.